Having the link module removed from the back of my neck felt like waking up. The relief that I felt from this almost made the throbbing in my neck go away. Almost, that is. My ears were still ringing and my vision was swirling, but it felt good. My mind was at peace. So at peace, in fact, that I fell asleep. I awoke in darkness, the red digits on the digital clock in front of my bed indicating that it was 5 p.m. Why was it so dark? I had thought, my hands instinctively going to the back of my neck, locating where the stitches were. It was stitched up like a button, an X marking where the module used to be. There was only a slight stinging now. My throat, however, was burning. It felt like I just swallowed sand straight from the desert. Coarse, dry, burning hot sand. I quickly threw the covers away from myself and got up. The lights came on at once and my feet touched the ground. The room was white. White floors, white walls, white furniture, and those bright white lights. It didn't have any windows, which explains the darkness, but it did have a door on the farther left side. I scanned my wrist on the blinking blue light next to the door. The door opened. The hallways were empty. The only sound I could hear was the lights turning on as I stepped out. The door clicked shut behind me. I looked around for a bit, looking for the pantry or a cafeteria. I needed some water. The floors were cold under my bare feet. Where was this place again? I asked myself, the events from this morning blurry in my head. I guess the rumors were true. Link modules are everything. I let out a chuckle. The townspeople have always respected those who work for the company simply because workers didn't have link modules. It's a requirement of sorts. Once you agree to be transferred, it's goodbye to yours. Link modules are very convenient gadgets, you see. They make your memory better, make your body stronger, your brain smarter, and they're free. In fact, link modules are so great, I would highly recommend it to anyone. It does come with a little con, though. The company shares this experience with you. It's a link module, after all. Link. This was the link. It's finally off. I smiled to myself as I turn on the machine. Map, please, I said, my voice hoarse and grainy. I held the cube tightly in one hand as I waited for my request. This was another thing I have to get used to. I don't have access to the message center anymore. Please scan your pass, the machine said, a scanner appearing where the monitor used to be. I scanned my wrist and the map started printing. How much do I have access to? I briefly thought as I take the map. The pantry wasn't very far, and after scanning my pass on its door, I quickly grabbed myself a bottle of water from the fridge. The contents of the bottle was emptied almost immediately. Throwing the bottle in the trash bin, I start to scan the map. A lot of the rooms on this floor were just necessity. Bathrooms, living quarters, pantry, and a few other rooms which were accessible to everyone. There were also a few rooms grayed out. I wouldn't be able to access those. I can't even request access. No one else would be here to even grant me one. It was the start of my transfer. No one stays in the company when a transfer is in process. I was walking back to my room, still scanning the map. I had access to a few unlabeled rooms, but that would have to wait since the throbbing in my neck was starting again. I made it a point to do some research. Upon researching my room, I sat down at the swivel chair. A blue light scanned over my eyes. Please scan your pass. The lights turned off as the screen in front of me activated. I scanned the code on my wrist and waited for it to load. Welcome. This is AI number 0004, the computer said, a hologram of a white cube appearing in front of me. How can I help you? How many specialty rooms can I access? I asked, looking at the rooms printed in my map. Specialty rooms, mostly experienced workers, get access to these. It's almost impossible for a newbie to get access, but I guess I should still try my luck. Searching database. Please hold. The cube began to roll as it loaded. Access pass number 00010204 has been granted access to one room. Please detail, I said, clutching at my head. Link module remover wasn't supposed to be as painful as this. Access to the penthouse laboratory is granted, the machine stated. How do I get there? I asked. Why was I allowed access into a laboratory? The penthouse laboratory is in floor number 5, door number 503. Its voice. Would you like to avail the access? Yes, please. The screen in front of me moved and revealed a slot behind it. From it, please scan your pass. I put my wrist in front of the slot, and a flash of light came from it before the screen moved back into position again. Access has been granted, it said. The screen froze for a few seconds before going back to its original display of rotating cube with a smiley face. My wrist felt warm. It glowed red once I touched it. I got out of the room, making sure I had the transfer cube they gave me earlier that day. I didn't have a plan. That alone should be enough to deter me, but I wanted to try anyway. Transfer is all about trust. They would never spy on me, not while it's ongoing at least. I headed for the elevator. Maybe it was a glitch, but I really wanted to check whether I was given access to the penthouse laboratory, and if so, why would they give me access to that? The elevator's ding woke me up from my thoughts, and then I exited into the hallway. The hallway looked like every room I've entered into this building. It was white floors, white walls, and those bright white lights. I squinted my eyes, trying to adjust to the sudden change in its lighting. There were 2 doors on this floor, 501 and 502. I didn't have to look much since they were literally the only doors on this floor. Did the computer make a mistake? I headed over to the machine at the end of the otherwise bare hallway, and it powered on. Directions to room 503, please, I asked, right as the machine's screen powered on. Please scan your pass. My wrist glowed blue for a second before going back to its red state. Weird, I thought. The machine beeped twice before a section of the wall behind it slid out of place. A small square room was inside. I passed through the opening. The wall closed as soon as I was out of its way. There was a glass door on the left side of me. A blue light leaked from the threshold underneath it. I went in the door. Strangely, this door didn't require a pass to open. Inside was cold. It looked like a farm, a soft blue light coating the environment. All the plants looked the same. Corn stalks. They looked like corn stalks. The only difference, if the fruit, instead of corn, in its place was a translucent jelly, and in it was a white bean. Strange. What plant was this? Why did it look so familiar? I carried on walking. The plant seemed to grow bigger with each step I take, the white bean inside it growing larger together with the plant. I walked to the end of the room and found a door behind a pot of plants. To open the door, I needed a pass to get through. I walked carefully, avoiding the roots and trying hard not to step on anything other than the soil. I don't know whether it was the lighting or maybe my eyes were playing tricks on me. But I swear, as I looked on the gelatinous fruit up close, the white beans started to resemble the shape of a fetus. The door didn't require a pass. Inside was a white room, same as all the other rooms so far, except there was a monitor in front of it. Actually, a wall of monitors. All of them were turned off and I didn't see a switch anywhere, so I ventured the room some more. There were 5 desks facing the wall of monitors. All of them had the drawers locked and nothing was on top. Sighing, I decided to take a sit. I was getting dizzy from all this exploring. My neck hadn't even properly healed yet. It was stinging a little bit more now. I sat down on one of the chairs. Upon doing so, a door opened. It was disguised as a wall, so I didn't notice it before. I stood up and started to walk to it. The door closed once I passed through it. I guess they were equipped with motion sensors. The inside was darker than the previous plant room. There were no light sources, except for those tank-like tubes. Inside them were those white beans, slightly larger than the ones in the plants. They resembled a fetus now more than ever, though they looked jelly-like. There was some sort of clear liquid in the tank, and the fetuses had a tube attached to them. No mask, though. Probably because they didn't have any facial features. The room was quite small, with only a few control keyboards in front of each one. In total, there were 25 tanks. All the contents sized varied. Some were even as big as an actual baby. There was a door in the middle of the floor. I don't know how I missed it, since I have walked over it a few times already, but there it was. It looked like the rest of the white tiles, only slightly more embossed. Curiosity was running through my veins. I might discover something, an answer to one of my questions. The door was easier to open than I anticipated. In fact, it was so easy to open, I fell on the floor because I exerted too much force. Inside was a metal ladder, only wide enough to fit one person. The ladder went down for 13 steps. The inside of the room was slightly brighter than the previous one. The room was a smaller version of the other room. 5 desks, a wall of monitors, and a door at the end. Unlike the other room, however, one monitor was turned on, although it was playing static. There was a narrow hallway towards one side of the room. It was dimly lit, but I decided to go there. The hallway was quite long. It ended up taking about 5 minutes to walk it, which is a lot more than I assumed considering the size of the room before it. The inside looked very much like the room above it. The only difference is that, instead of those tiny fetuses in the tank, were humans. Different ages, different genders. They all had faces now. I went close to a tank. There was a girl floating in it, a mask attached to its face, and a couple tubes attached to her body. The girl looked familiar to me, but I couldn't quite place it. It wasn't until I reached the 5th tank that I noticed it. These were my neighbors, younger versions of them anyway. I looked at all the other tanks and confirmed. These were all people from my town. The gravity of this didn't affect me as much as it should. That is, till I found the last tank. A younger version of me in it. I opened my eyes. No. The me in the tank did. Its gaze fixated at me. There was a smile grazing its lips. It came closer to the glass, beckoning me to do the same. I did. It pointed at the keyboard, holding up 3 fingers. He was asking me to press 3. I did. The liquid inside the tank drained. The tube disconnected from it as it happened. It removed the mask. It looked exactly like me, and it sounded exactly like me. The glass had parted, and it emerged. There was no sign that she was submerged in liquid just a while ago, as her body seemed completely dry. "Hello," it said. "What are you?" I asked, taking a step backward. "I am you. You are me. We're exactly the same." It chuckled, the chime sounding exactly like mine. "What are you?" I asked again, a bit of force in my voice now. "I do not know the term. I cannot obtain access to that," it said. "I am not the first, though. That I am sure of." "What is all this?" I asked. "This is the penthouse laboratory," it said. "Our birthplace." "Our?" I asked it. There were so many questions running through my head at this point. "You are just like me," it said. Its face hardened into an expressionless mask. "We're all born here." It came closer to me, reaching out for my wrist. "I can help you get out," it said. It smiled, sensing the please because I so desperately wanted to get away. I awoke in darkness, the red digits on the digital clock in front of my bed indicating that it was 5 p.m. Why was it so dark? I had thought, my hands instinctively going to the back of my neck, locating where the stitches were. It was stitched up like a button, an X marking where the module used to be. There was only a slight stinging now. My throat, however, was burning. It felt like I just swallowed some sand straight from the desert. Coarse, dry, burning hot sand. I quickly threw the covers away from myself and got up. The lights came on at once. My feet touched the ground. The room was white. White floors, white walls, white furniture, and those bright white lights. It didn't have any windows, which explains the darkness, but it did have a door on the farther left side. I scanned my wrist on the blinking blue light right next to the door. The door opened. The hallways were empty. The only sound I could hear was the lights turning on once I stepped out. The door clicked shut behind me. I went straight for the back of the building. There was an exit, it had said, as it made an incision on my wrist and took out the circular device inside it. "You won't die from this. Don't worry." We were in the pantry. It wrapped a towel tightly around it. "You have 3 days," it said. "After that, they will bring you back inside." "Would you still like to go outside?" it asked. I nodded. The wound didn't bleed too long, but the painkillers did make me sleepy. I saw it smile as my eyes fluttered close. It arranged the system for me. The doors were unlocked, and the cars were too. It even left a map on my bedside table. I followed it, noting that the city I thought was different from our town was also inside this big dome. It was all artificial. My town, the city, they were hidden in the woods, no roads leading to it. None of that. In fact, I don't think I could even find them even if I wanted to. It all seems so surreal. I've spent 2 days here now. I'm not sure what this place is, but it isn't inside, I'm sure. I'm typing this at their library. There's free internet, so I can post this online now. I have 10 hours left.